I tend to pride myself on wisdom. I don't really have anything that's common about me. I mean, my ambition is to take the road less traveled and, I guess, become a wanderer of sorts. That's not what I'm planning on talking about, though. The meditative state and understanding, the nature of understanding oneself is what primarily I have mastered, as it were. The reason that I can speak about myself is because I don't see myself as myself. I see myself as an object. My ego and my mind, my body, my persona, all of these things are objects. And I, as my true self, see them as anyone else would see them. I'm amazed by my existence. I don't take existence for granted. It's kind of funny because time is so strange that there's only really one day. To realize that is to, in some sense, kind of lose your sense of mind as well, because you realize that it's not something that's progressively, time doesn't have an end for us. It doesn't matter how many days there are. Anyway, the realization that I came to fairly recently, but I have to say it's more or less of a realization, or a realization of description. All of these things are already present in my mind. I already know these things, but the words came to me fairly recently, and they were that the mind is the reflection of the consciousness, and the ego is the reflection of the mind. By this I mean that the mind is only slightly less clear or real than the consciousness, and that the ego is a further abstraction from the truth than the mind. And I define ego as the inner structure, or whatever, that keeps us keeps our models of the world and the cultural modems which are necessary for our cultural or sociological survival. And the mind, which has no real name to it. The ego has the name. It's what is referred to as the person, or the persona, personality. And the mind, though, has no name. It's more the structured system for analysis that our brain innately is programmed for. It's analysis and pattern recognition and things like that. The mind is capable of dissociating from the environment, but at the same time it isn't the truth. What we consider to be consciousness usually, or the soul, is the mind. But however, consciousness is not an aspect of the mind. A great man, or a great mind, once said that, and I agree with this, and I have said it also, and he confirmed me, because I discovered that he said the same thing after I said it. Technically he said it first, but I had no knowledge of him saying it before I said it. Okay, anyway, he said that the brain receives consciousness. His name is Robert Anton Wilson, I think. He said that the brain receives consciousness, that it is a thing outside. What we are in every moment to moment is consciousness. Everything else, everything, our mind, our ego, all of these, and our experiences, our outside, the world that we are experiencing is also in a constant state of change. What is not changing is the consciousness that is experiencing it. That is a singularity. It is a constant it is a constantly existing phenomena in our every moment. And this is the most easily taken for granted because it is so there all the time. This is what makes us, if we can tap into that, it is what makes us realize how extraordinary we are. And it is what makes us able to not take things for granted. Things meaning time, existence itself. We have to realize what our words mean. And probably the only way to do that is to realize our own consciousness, our own what we are, basically. Alright. Good night.